No, I was wrong. I had to put this thing on one more time, but I'm me. So, yeah, of course I was wrong. Hey, everybody! I wrapped up my rewatch of the 11th Doctor's time. It closed out overdue Doctor Who review, and that just leaves me with one thing to do. Give my opinion of the top 10 11th Doctor stories. Reminder, I do count two-parters as a single story, so any two-parters in here only take up one slot. We've got 10 of these to get through, so let's get going. Number 10, The Day of the Doctor. Even though this is a multi-Doctor story, I am still going to consider it an 11th Doctor story because it happened during his tenure. Now, I actually bounced back and forth as to whether this number 10 spot was going to go to this one or Name of the Doctor. I like them both for not vastly dissimilar reasons. At the end of the day, I like the more celebratory feel for the Day of the Doctor, and that edged it out just a little bit. And while I feel like I would have liked to have spent more time with John Hurt's Doctor than we got in this, he's still good in the part. Tennant and Smith play off each other very well. We have Kate Stewart back and she's doing good in it. I love the use of Billie Piper in this. I love Tom Baker as the curator. There's just a lot to like in this, and it does feel like they really did try for a full proper celebration for the 50th anniversary, and especially that closing shot with all the Doctors that we'd had up to that point. Yeah, that's some good stuff. Number 9, Asylum of the Daleks. I'm pretty sure when I did my Series 7 ranking that I put Name of the Doctor over this, so it might seem strange that this is higher than Name of the Doctor, which effectively is the unofficial number 11. But this is just how things felt this time around. I think the thing was, when I did the Series 7 ranking, I was putting more weight into Name of the Doctor as a culmination of the season up to that point, whereas for this list, I'm taking them a bit more as entities in and of themselves. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. I'm not inconsistent. Yes, I am. But anyways, Asylum of the Daleks is an episode that I actually like a lot. I like the feel and the vibe to it, but I also feel that the emotional resonance rings true. At least it does for me. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but it was solid for me, and I like the banter that goes on. I like this iteration of Clara quite a bit. I really do enjoy Oswin. That's a lot of fun for me. And I just like the way that it kind of barrels forward, just starting with this insane premise of the Daleks are gonna fire the Doctor at a planet full of insane Daleks. Yeah, okay, I'm on board for that. Number 8, two-parter, The Impossible Astronaut and the Day of the Moon. While I am sorry to say that on the rewatch, the silence overall, in terms of looking at them as something that was around for a decent chunk of Smith's tenure, they didn't quite pay off the way I would have liked. That said, their first official appearance here, it's really good stuff. I love this. I love the concept of the silence. I love the look of the silence. I love the way that they are defeated by tying that order, "You should kill us all on sight," to that one clip from the moon landing that, and for me, it tracks that, like, everybody's going to see that eventually. Even as humans go off and into outer space, if they are taught history at any point, they will see this clip. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So it's a clever solution to a really intimidating foe. We've got River in this, who does really good work. And while a lot of the stuff that was set up, the payoffs in later episodes didn't feel quite right, I still feel that this is a strong story in and of itself, even though the dangling threads weren't tied up later as much as I would have liked. Number 7, A Good Man Goes to War. This is a nice roller coaster of an episode, because it starts out, Amy's captured. Doctor shows up and basically waltzes all over this army that thought they were ready for them, but so was not. And I love that. I love his confidence. Amelia Pond, get your coat. And that's fantastic. And then to realize that it was trapped even further, and that Madame Kavarian expected him to get this far, and that this gathering of allies and everything he went through, he still didn't accomplish everything he came there to do, because he came to rescue Amy and the baby. He got Amy, lost the child. And the impact of that, I think that Karen Gillan sells it really well, both the terror at the realization of it, and then the anger directed initially at River's song, and then the revelation about River. Those things just kind of tumble on top of each other, and it is a wonderful roller coaster of emotions that for me pays off really well. Number 6, the God Complex. First off, creepy setting. I love when Doctor Who gets creepy, like legitimately, because there are some things about Doctor Who that whether or not they'll creep you out is very subjective, and it depends on whether or not certain things inherently kind of like are a push on your buttons a little bit. But I feel like they really sold this whole thing with this hotel and these endless corridors that keep reshaping, but they all look the same, and this twisting of faith into something that you're terrified of something, then you're not, and you praise the thing that took that fear away, and it feeds on that to consume you. That's a wonderfully twisted concept. The fact that it's a Minotaur is maybe slightly on the nose, but I'm prepared to roll with it. I think the execution on this is just terrific. Number 5, Amy's Choice. 2 reasons. Especially on a rewatch, I've come to really appreciate how much this helps establish and firm up the relationship between Amy and Rory, and we get the Dream Master. And I love the Dream Master. Bring him back. Like, he's a construct from the Doctor's mind. You can figure out a way to get him to manifest again. Please. Oh, he's so good, and he's just this vicious, gross little... He's just twisting the knife into everybody, pushing everybody's buttons, including the Doctor's, but the Doctor also clocks onto who he is right away. And I love that moment as well. The back and forth, the discombobulation, the disorientation of everything going on is really well played, and the Dream Master is just the icing on the cake. Number 4, The Girl Who Waited. Another Amy-centric episode. Karen Gillan sells the hell out of this. The bitterness, the frustration, the anger at being left behind. Not only at having been left behind, but at being left behind, being convinced that they were going to come for her, and they didn't. For decades. And the way that kind of eats at her and gives us the Amy that we see. And she sells that so hard, and she had to. If she couldn't sell that, this episode was not going to work. But then, also, in addition to that, Arthur Darvill as Rory really does a fantastic job showing the conflict that he's so happy to see her, but it's not the Amy he knows, but he's still prepared to love her. It's so well put together. And then, at the end, when they have to shut old Amy out, and the Doctor pulls such a dick move, putting it back on Rory, saying, okay, there can only be one in here, you decide. Oh, again, in character. So I get it, and it works, but man, jerk move, wow. And it's tense, and it's unsettling, and it's sad. It's really good, this one. It's a really good Amy-centric episode. Number 3, The Doctor's Wife. Fun. The fun of the idea of the TARDIS being embodied in this woman that the Doctor gets to have banter with. The fun of them running around and her eccentricities and her... I like biting. It's like kissing, except someone wins. And all these odd little moments, but then also the Doctor having such phenomenal lines as when House threatens him and he says, fear me, I've killed hundreds of Time Lords. He goes, fear me, I've killed them all. And First of all, house, this disembodied voice and a glowing light, that should not be intimidating. That should not work as a villain, but it so totally does. Michael Sheen really sells the voice on that. It works fantastically, and as it messes with Amy and Rory, which really does a lot to give you satisfaction when he gets taken down at the end. Oh, this is just such a satisfying episode. Number 2, the 11th hour. Very first outing for the 11th Doctor, and I will continue to contend that short of An Unearthly Child, this is the best first adventure for a Doctor that we've gotten, because it accomplishes everything it needs to. It establishes who this Doctor is, it establishes who Amy is, it establishes how their relationship is going to function and how it became what it was. We don't suddenly have to wait and see what sort of relationship develops. Because Amy waited for him for a decade plus, she already has a dynamic and already knows what she thinks of him. She doesn't have to figure him out. She has completely decided what she thinks of this guy. So we have what feels like an established dynamic in a matter of minutes. And getting to see all of this come together and pull together in what is also a really fun episode, and the power of getting to see him finally in that bow tie. Hello, I'm the Doctor. It's like, yeah, you are. It's such a masterfully done first outing for a Doctor, because it sells him and his companion and the vibe of this new series and this new era so well. It does a phenomenal job. Doesn't quite take the top spot. Top spot is going to go to Vincent and the Doctor, because as I have gone back and rewatched this episode, and as I have gotten older, as we tend to do, the depth and the understanding with which this puts a lens on depression, not only those who have it, but sending a message of hope to the loved ones of someone with it. Because that ending is so important, that they take Vincent to the future to see the impact of his work and to understand what he means to people. But it doesn't change that he dies by his own hand, and it still happens at the same point. Because sometimes what is behind depression is going to be the end of someone. But that doesn't mean that it isn't worth being kind and adding to someone's pile of good things. And again, the rewatch has granted me a lot more insight into this, with things like the blind invisible monster. This haphazard destructive thing that only Vincent can see. No one else can see the fight, can see the creature, the beast that he is fighting. Only he can see it. They just see him flailing madly, trying to fend it off. But it also doesn't even mean him harm. But its existence is harmful. It is an embodiment of depression. It's not the last time that Doctor Who will do it. And when Doctor Who has decided to tackle these sorts of things, I feel the show has done it very well. And this episode does it masterfully, anchored by a phenomenal performance for Vincent. And obviously also great performances from Matt Smith, from Karen Gillan. But Tony Curran as Vincent is the heart and soul of this, and he nails it just with looks. This is an episode that is powerful, it is important, and I think it's something that a lot of people will benefit from seeing, even if they aren't Doctor Who fans. So, that's my number 1 for the 11th Doctor. What do you think of my list? What would your list be? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something on down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Usual stuff, like, subscribe. I have Patreon. I have Twitter and social media and Instagram, etc., etc., etc. Links in the description. Hop to it! Or don't. It's all right. End of the day, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. I got these specifically to be able to have more accurate glasses to cosplay this doctor as. Don't think I'll be wearing them outside this thing though. In any case, this council is adjourned.